Welcome back to NH Unscripted, you lucky listeners. Yeah, baby, Cracklin' Rosie, get on board. I am your Neil Diamond-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the YMCA-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. You know the drill. Get out those transistor radios, fire up the lava lamps, kick back on your waterbed because we got another beautiful show for you today. Get out those transistor radios. Yeah, the rich kids got all the ones with 16 transistors. Us poor kids still got the 8 transistor ones. But hey, what can I say about that? 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. That's Concord. 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. And our URL is nhtalkradio.com. We got business to do today. But before we go there, new year, new sponsor. The attorneys at the law offices of Shaheen and Gordon, I cannot thank them enough for sponsoring this show. I am just thrilled to death. Look, get out a piece of paper. I'm going to give you some information. Tip number 1, the longer you're on this earth, the greater the chance that at some point you're going to need an attorney. Let me tell you, I don't care if it's for like real estate, hate to say it, maybe divorce, maybe DUI, maybe you need a will, maybe you need a trust. At some point, you're going to need an attorney. 603-614-5560 is their number. I'm going to repeat it. Yeah, 603-614-5560. Put that on your refrigerator. Put it where all your important papers are because you never know. I mean, it's just a litigious day, right? What can I say? You never know when you're going to need an attorney, and they do it. I'm going to have them in. I think once a month we're going to get a different attorney from Shaheen and Gordon in here to talk about their specialties. If you maybe want to send in a question or you want somebody, you perhaps need some information, yeah, give the station a call. Tell us what you want to hear. I'll get them in here. We'll chat them up. Shaheen and Gordon. I'm so happy. ShaheenGordon.com is their website. Don't go out there right now. We got things to do. We have a return visitor. That always does my heart good. Kevin Lefebvre from F&R Transportation in Manchester. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear. I know we got some great stuff to talk about today, but for folks who don't understand, F&R Transportation, how is that fitting in with what's going on here? Fill us in, because I do want to chat about. I've been out there looking at reviews and what's going on. So, what is F&R?
So, F&R Transport, we help people get to wherever they need to be, whether it's going to the grocery store. It started out being just for medical appointments, but things have taken a turn, and I've adapted, and so now we go to the grocery store. I'll take you to the show. I'll take you to the movie.
What?
Whatever you need to go, we can get you there.
So, is this for anybody in general, or anybody can?
So, I focus mainly on seniors,
Yep.
but I've had a lot of uptick in younger clientele, so I've been helping younger people out as well.
You have?
Yep.
You have. Dude, the reviews are crazy. I was reading them this morning. People just love your service. 5 stars. There's nothing less than a 5-star review out there.
That's what I strive for. So that makes me feel good to know
No kidding,
that's what's
right?
out there. Yeah.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from people that are using the service?
So a lot of it was they'd like to see, more availability, more drivers out there so that I can be in more than one place at once. F&R can be in more than one place at once.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I've been focusing on, is trying to do that. You hit your ups and your downs, and you don't always get the best fit with people. So there has been some not superb feedback, but it was easily adjusted. Yeah. Getting somebody else to take a ride or work with a client. So it's been really great. But overall, a great experience.
So how old is the business now?
5.5 years.
It is?
Yep. We'll be 6 in June.
So what made you decide to do it? I mean, I know we're going to get into other stuff here in a little while, but did you see, were there friends just asking for rides? Or how did you, say, there's a niche here, there's a hole that we can fill?
So I was actually working for an eye doctor in Manchester, and I would see people, and I was a front desk person, and I would see people come in all the time. Well, I can't make that. Or I was helping out in the outback in the call, taking calls, and they'd say, well, I need to cancel because I don't have a ride. And a lot of those people were elderly, and it was, I can't bother my kid. My kid's still working. I don't want to bother my neighbors. I don't want to be a burden. And I just started looking for other ways for people to get there to be able to offer. And I didn't see a private pay company out there besides taxis or really expensive car services. So I said, well, I think I can go do that. And so a business partner and I went into business together, and we started in June of 2019. Less than a year later.
Oh, what a time.
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yep. So January of 2020, we got our first long-term client. And then, unfortunately, my partner had to step away from the business. He has 4 kids.
Ugh.
He's got his wife was the only one working. He had to be able to make more of a living than us surviving on one client. So I bought the business from him. I bought his half out, and I said, I want to keep it going. I think I can make it work. And then I kind of struggled through it, and I kept my head down, and I said, I'm not changing the way I am. Yeah. I'm going to be that service that waits for you. I'm going to be the service that, doesn't try to charge you an arm and a leg, doesn't overcharge you for, doing other things. It's just going to be the way I'd want my grandmother to be treated.
Yeah, good for you.
And that's how I look at things. How would I want my grandmother, who actually just broke her hip or her pelvis back in November and had to have surgery?
Talk about timing, geez.
How would I want her to be treated if she was taken by somebody else? And I said, that's what I want to be. And that's what I've been for 5.5 years. And I won't change that. My service is always going to be that,
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about some the details. Do you have a website?
I do.
And what would that be?
fnrtransport.com.
Okay. And what will people find out there?
For other services? Or
how would they schedule?
Oh, so to schedule with me, so you can go through my website. You can send in a request. That'll send me an email, and then I'll call you right away. You can call me directly on my business number at 603-361-5531.
Nice. I
also have a FNR Transportations on Facebook, Instagram. So if you wanted to reach out to...
You're on Instagram?
I am.
I didn't know that.
Yep. FNRtransportation.com is out there. You can reach out through there, send me a DM, send me a Facebook message. I'll get it, and I'll get back to you. We can set up a conversation and figure out how I can help.
I think one of the most fascinating things about your service is that you'll wait.
Yeah. That's the difference with us. That's really what sets me apart is that, and my prices include that wait time. So when I quote you a price, I will tell you how long that's good for. So, but that's other companies won't do that, or they'll charge you an arm and a leg.
They're just going to drop you off at the front door and then come back later.
Right, and then you don't know where they are.
Right,
and you may get somebody else coming back.
Right.
So with us, the person that dropped you off is going to be there waiting for you, and they're going to be the person that picked you up. Only in an extreme emergency would that change.
Yeah.
My driver, if he had an emergency or something came up, I would then step in, not another driver. That's where I would come in, and you would get me. And that's how it is. That's how I want it to be, because the last thing I need is a 90-year-old woman or a 90-year-old person going into a doctor's appointment, having a tough doctor's appointment, coming out, and not seeing the person that brought her. Yeah. And that just causes unnecessary confusion. That causes unnecessary stress.
Yeah, and they're not at ease about it. They don't know who they're going to get.
Exactly.
This day and age, good grief.
Exactly.
You just never know who's going to be driving. I mean, I'm not saying the serial killer's out there driving, but you don't know who's going to be picking you up.
Right. And a lot of these places I have found, and in conversations with other people who have worked for other companies, they don't vet their drivers. They'll do a background check, but that's as far as they go. So if there's other issues, they don't find them. Or they don't look for them, and that's just one of the issues that I've, come across. So when in me growing and doing other things, that's part of my process now as well.
So you don't, oh man, already. Wow, that was fast, man. Whoo, baby, you are listening to NH Unscripted, where you are hooked on a feeling. Yes, I am your BJ Thomas-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. My God, it's cavernous in here. I'm talking with Kevin Lefebvre from F&R Transportation, and I have a lot of questions for him. This is a great service. We're going to be right back. Hang on. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. Oh, happy day. I'm your Edwin Hawkins like singers like host Ray Dudley. Stumbling over my words there. Yeah, baby. Yeah, coming to you from the Gong Show like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. No, we don't have an unknown comic here, but that's okay. Kevin Lefebvre is in the building. We are talking about his business, F&R Transportation, in mainly Manchester. I assume you're based there, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Based out of Manchester.
What was it like? So you've been in business now for 5 years. You stepped out. Did you ever own a business before?
No.
Okay. So what is that like for people who don't understand? I love entrepreneurs. I love their attitudes, their go-getiveness. What was it like for you stepping out there? I mean, because you have potentially, invalid people. There's things that... Were you aware at the time that you could potentially, I'm not going to say about lawsuits, but you know what I mean? Something could happen. You're transporting elderly people around. So give me a little idea of what that was like.
So it was nerve-wracking. It really was, to step out on my own and not to have a full-time job.
Yeah. Dude, that's a gamble.
Yeah, absolutely. And, thankfully I have a very supportive wife who has a full-time job, and, she carries our health insurance, so I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. So I took the leap. There was a lot of concern those first few months.
Yeah.
Trying to figure things out, how I wanted to do things, what my insurance required me to do, what I couldn't do.
Oh, my God.
A lot of question and answer periods. I spent a lot of time on the phone just asking questions.
Yeah.
And just digging into it. Once I committed to doing it, it was digging into what that meant on a day-to-day basis. I get the big picture and I get all, having coverage and all that, but what does that really mean? And there are things like that I can't do. Like I can't assist people in and out of my vehicle.
You cannot?
I cannot lift. I'm not trained in lifting. I'm not covered to lift people.
So they have to be somewhat ambulatory themselves. Correct.
Absolutely. So that is, to get in and out of one of the vehicles, you have to be ambulatory. And so that came with its own challenges. I've tried to figure out different ways for people who struggle a little to get in and out of a car. I actually just purchased, and I wish I would have found it 5 years ago. It's like a cane handle that sits into where the door latches and locks. It slides right in there, and then they can push off of it.
Oh.
So they're not pushing on the door which is moving. This is firmly against the frame of the car. I saw that online, and I'm like,
another entrepreneur finds something that needs to be invented and does it.
Right. So I use that. So I just ordered some for all my drivers now. But that was a challenge. Our first main client was a dialysis patient. I had him for 9 months and 3 times a week, and when he would get out of dialysis, he would be really weak, and trying to help him get out of a wheelchair and into the car without hurting him or assisting him, holding the wheelchair, holding the door. So there are things that I can do to get around that, but that was what I struggled with that first year, really.
So, man, I have a lot of questions for you, but were you scared about the insurance side of it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's astronomical.
I'll bet.
So one of my field is one of the largest costing fields a year for insurance. And that's just for liability insurance
I'll
and
imagine.
auto insurance, and that it's astronomical. You're talking $10,000 a year. And it's a lot. And it's only gone up.
Did you have like people in the insurance who were like, you might really want to think about this, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe just go stock shelves at a grocery store,
Yeah. No, I definitely had somebody, the first person I had talked to who had given me a quote said, "Are you really sure you want to be in this field?" And because I just saw the number and it's not small.
Oh my God.
And it was scary. And it was scary for my wife. It was scary for my business partner. But we've muscled through it. I figured it out and I make it work. And here I am today, coming back to place, spending time with you.
Yeah, thanks.
And growing and having a great time doing it all.
All right, you push that button about growing. All right, let's get there. So you've been very successful, right?
Yes, sir.
Very successful. And so what did that have to force you to do?
Hire people.
Because you can't personally handle all the clients? I mean, have you had that much interest in what you're doing?
Absolutely. So right now I'm up to 3 people.
You are?
And I'm looking for a 4th.
What?
Actually, I just hired my 4th, so now I'm looking for a 5th. I just hired somebody to come on part-time to do like a virtual assistant to help me with billing, answer phone calls that I miss. And so she starts February 1st, but I'm up to 3 drivers now. And I now have a wheelchair van.
Oh, nice.
We now can offer wheelchair van services.
Wow. Yeah, I bet that was really hard.
Yeah.
Did you have to turn them down if they had a wheelchair? What?
Absolutely.
Aww.
Or I had to refer them to somebody else and a lot of these places aren't private pay, so they only bill to insurance. So people who are private pay, they kind of get stuck. There was a gentleman that I've been working with, and I actually mentored him to grow his own business, and he wasn't finding the amount of work that he needed and said, well, I think I'm going to wind that piece of my business down, but I'd like to come and work for you. So that's what he's done. And so now I can offer wheelchair van services to all of my clients. So that has made my business exponentially bigger because now I can reach just about everybody.
Wow.
The only thing I can't take now is a stretcher.
Oh, man. Okay. Where do I go here? So let's talk about, you said you expanded your area too. Is that true? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we were just roughly from Hampton down like 101 up to Boston, down Concord, obviously, south to Salem. Well, now we've expanded out to Portsmouth. We go all the way up to Meredith and Center Harbor.
That's huge.
We're going into the Monadnock area. One of my drivers lives in Hillsborough, so now I'm starting to creep into the Keene, Monadnock region. And I still have, Nashua, Amherst. We have a ride this morning that she went from Milford to Nashua for an eye surgery. And so one of my drivers was there this morning.
Wow.
So
was that a big decision? I mean, I can imagine going from the conversation you must have had with your wife, like, look, honey, we're turning business down. There are people I don't want to have to just turn this down. But it means that I'm going to have to be either an employer, or are they employees or are they subcontractors?
So right now they're subcontractors.
Got ya.
I'm still in the beginning phases of putting all the rest of that together.
Yep.
Getting all that insurance in place, workers' comp. My eventual goal for this year is to hire anybody that wants to come on as a W-2 and employ them, actually be an employer.
Really?
Yep. That's my goal. I have really good people that work.
Whole new world.
Absolutely, it's a brave new world out there.
If you need a good law office, I happen to know.
So we, it's all independent contractor work. I call them all roughly on the weekends, and I say, "This is what I have for the coming week. Can you help me out?" And usually I figure most of my rides out. I went from taking 100% of the rides.
Yeah.
Now I'm down to about 15% of the rides.
What? That's huge.
I want to be down to 0.
Okay. Oh, you want to be management.
I want to be working on my business, not within my business.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go now.
The evolution.
Absolutely. Very different conversation we had than last time.
No kidding.
So our area has expanded. Portsmouth is turned out to be a plethora of new people that I'm meeting, that I'm being able to network with, which is fantastic because that area is really lacking in transportation.
I didn't know that.
Especially in wheelchair transportation. So I have connected with somebody who owns their own OT PT office. She's a mobile provider of that, and she has been a plethora of information and people to plug me in with. So I've been doing a lot of networking because of that. Work hasn't started trickling in, but it's still very new. That all started...
That area itself, you mean?
Yeah, just started a couple of weeks ago. I decided to make that jump. So it's all still pretty brand new, but I actually took my first call from Portsmouth yesterday. So
how are people finding you then? How do they find you? In Portsmouth, are they going to... What are they looking at? Are they Googling something and trying to find out transportation? Oh, man. Okay, put a pin in it. We got to put a pin in it right there. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your happy to be out of bed host, Ray Dudley. Yeah, we're having a good time today. We are coming to you deep from within the bunkers of the WKXL studios in Concord. Kevin Lefebvre from FNR Transportation is in the house. So much to chat about. You're going to love it. We'll be right back. I got more questions for you. Lucky listeners are listening to NH Unscripted. We are your riders on the storm. That means that I am your Doors-like host, Ray Dudley, coming to you from the not-so-overly ostentatious digs of the WKXL studios in Concord, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is where all the cool kids hang out. Yeah, that's our URL. You got it. Kevin, you've expanded your service now, by adding other vehicles. What kind of a process do you have to go through to vet these people? Because the elderly, you have to just make sure they're happy, they feel secure and safe. How do you go about vetting these guys, or people, I should say?
Sure. So it's usually a multi-process interview. The first one is always on the phone, just to kind of get a feel for somebody, just how they talk and how they handle situations. I'll bring up tough situations that I've handled and how would they handle it. And if they give me a good vibe, I go from there. I do it in person, and then if that goes well, I will do a background check. And then the thing that I find very surprising is I ask for them to get a copy of their driving record.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
Go to the state, come up to Concord and go to the State House or the DMV up here and get a copy of their actual driving record, and that'll go back 5 years. That'll give me any accidents, anything like that for the last. I think it's 5 years. So that's a big part of my process. So I usually do a background check. Just to make sure that nothing springs out, and then I will take them on what I call a drive around, and that's their orientation process. Is all right. Well, I take them to. I deal with the homeless, like we talked about last time. I deal with the homeless.
Yeah.
I bring them to those areas that I'm picking people up at, and I see what their reaction is.
Smart.
Just to kind of gauge what their reaction is.
So if they puke, you don't want them.
Basically. I haven't had that yet. You always throw those scenarios at me. But I'll bring them around and I'll say, well, we picked up somebody at this house and it may not be in a great area. Or I bring them to the shelter in Manchester, one of the shelter that we worked with. And I say, we're picking people up here to bring them to CMC or to Elliott or to Dartmouth. And I gauge that. I can really get a vibe. It's hard to hide, that judging look. So that's really like the last piece. If they get through that, then I give them a test run. I usually give them, and maybe I'm kind of a jerk for this, but I give them one of my harder clients, my more pickier clients, my more
good for you,
my clients that require more attention or ask for more attention. So, and we'll see how it goes. And then as soon as they're done, they know to call me once that first ride is done. Every single time, every person and I had one that didn't work out, but they called me.
You had the client call you?
Yep.
Okay.
The client, wow. and I get feedback as soon as they're done.
Smart.
As soon as they're done, I get feedback. What was your vibe? How did you feel? How did they treat you? Did you have any issues? Things like that.
Have you had to turn away many people?
I turned around one.
You did?
I turned
that had to be hard.
It was tough.
But yeah.
It was tough because I really liked them.
Yeah.
And I thought they had a good vibe, but it turned out to be that it was just not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
They were more of an Uber kind of thing where they wanted to do their own thing and not have to wait and do. And so it just didn't work out. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. I paid them for their time. And I said, thank you for, applying, but I think I'm just going to run a different direction.
Yeah.
So
do they own their own cars, or is that you have a fleet?
So right now they're using their own cars.
Got you.
That's my other goal for 2025 is to buy my first fleet vehicle.
Dude, you are aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I have big plans. I've also just started working, so I partnered with another company. I'm now working for a moving and downsizing company. So I've worked with them, helping them. They do assisted living locators.
Yeah.
So they help people find an assisted living. Well, they're transitioning away from that, and they started their own elderly moving and downsizing company. Well, they're now hiring me to help with the moving process. So now I'm their mover as well.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Let me get my head around this. So who are these people? Are they just elderly who maybe they have to leave their normal home and go to a nursing home or whatever you want to call it, assisted living, and they can't move themselves, like they can't hire U-Haul or whoever the heck that would be to... And you do that?
So that's what their service does.
Yep.
So they would initially, for the last 10 years or 8 years or so, that's what they would help them find a place to live.
Yeah.
Then they would contract out to find a downsizer, because let's say they're moving from a 4-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom assisted living.
Yeah.
They can't take it all with them.
Right.
So that's what a downsizer would do. Well, then you would hire somebody else to then actually move them. So
what a whole nother world. I had no idea that even existed. I mean, it makes sense when you talk about it, but I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yeah. So now a couple of my drivers have like trailers and a truck. So they're paying F&R to hire their drivers. They're renting our trucks, and then we're going to move them. So I am now partnering with them. They just announced that they were going to be transitioning to that. So I am now doing that as well.
Dude, do you sleep? I mean, how do you figure this all out? That's crazy.
I mean, I'm the kind of person, if you present me with an opportunity and I can actually make it work and I can figure out how to make it work, I won't say no.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm out there to grab every opportunity possible to better myself, the people that I have working with me, my family. I am all about seeing what's next.
So is that a big field? Is that a big area? I know
Absolutely.
You said really?
Absolutely. You would be surprised at how many people would be, at how many people out there don't have, they live here by themselves. Their kids live in Georgia and they can't move. They don't have anybody to help them around, or their kids are like, mom and dad have to move out. They can't be on their own anymore. How do I get them? Where do I send them? And how do I get them there? I live 3 hours away or 5 hours away, or they don't have any family left at all.
Dude, that seems like a niche in and of itself. That could be full-time. I don't know how you're going to get it all in.
I'll make it work. I'll make it work.
I'll bet you will.
I'll make it work. I'm also looking at potentially becoming like a move manager, where I would go into the person's home, help them pack up their house, help see what they're actually gonna take with them, figure out if they need to sell something, get it sold for them so they can get the money from it, donate. I'll probably end up taking over a role with them in that as well.
This is incredible. This is from just driving people around to their little doctor's appointments to expanding like this is incredible.
It is, and I've never thought that I would ever be at this point. Ever and especially in 5 years, I said that I would take this as far as it'll take me, and it is taking me in so many different directions. I actually do a little bit of other side work too. So
of course he does. Of course he does.
So and then I do distribution of maps in the Lakes region in the Hampton area. It's a tourist map. There's advertisements on it. So I deliver those.
Because you're not busy enough.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm actually looking at buying my own map too, in the Myrtle Beach map. So things right now are pretty crazy. So that's why, and that's another reason why I want to hire people, is that so. Again, I'm not working in the job.
Yeah.
I'm working on the job, So I can have somebody that if I need to go move somebody and set up that and be able to do that, well, now I don't have to physically pick anything up. I'm bringing my guys in.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid to do all of that work. And I'm just there to make sure that the person's taken care of and is happy and is content moving to their home, which is fine. And if I don't end up doing that and I'm just their 1099 guy that gives them my drivers, I'm fine with that too. I'm just here to help.
Yeah, man, oh man. But definitely, you definitely are, which is really remarkable. Getting back just for a second to your original F&R, right there, I'm like right on the precipice. Hang on, folks, hang on. Woo! You're listening to NH Unscripted. I am having a ball today. I'm so glad Kevin's here. We are coming to you from the Hollywood Squares like digs. Yes, of the WKXL studios. I love the center square, the old Paul Lynde Square. I am Ray Dudley, your happy to be out of bed host, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your transistor radios in Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. Kevin and I are talking. Have not finished. I got questions. I'll be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. Yeah, baby. In the summertime when the weather is fine, which it is not right now. It's like 6 degrees out there. I am your Mungo Jerry-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Green Acres-like digs of the WKXL studios. No Ziffel the pig, though, Arnold Ziffel. I am speaking with Kevin Lefebvre from F&R Transportation. Man, oh man, is this guy aggressive. My God. Kevin, I wanted to just back up a little bit to your original service because I have a couple of real questions. So I know probably your primary business is getting some of the elderly to a doctor appointment or something like that. But didn't you tell me at one time you'll like take them if they want to go see, you said a show or like you'll sit there and wait for them and all that too?
Absolutely. I taken people everywhere. I mean, I brought a guy to a museum. I sat in the parking lot. And
Really?
Spent 3.5 hours walking around the museum. I have a guy that he collects political things from history. He's got a framing guy that he goes all the way to Worcester for. And I wait, and he brings his painting in, and
No kidding.
Yep. So I do that. I bring him to. He goes to Dartmouth, Mass for lunch to see a friend. I take him down there.
You do?
Yep. I if you need to get somewhere, I will take you there.
Wow. Is there a particular time of year where you're more busy than others, or is there like a season where all of a sudden you have to ramp up and get prepared for like an onslaught? I wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
So it comes in waves.
It does.
Holidays are my slow time because kids are home.
Got you.
So the week of Thanksgiving, the week before Christmas, the week of Christmas, and the week after are probably my 4 slowest weeks all year.
You go to the Bahamas at that point.
Not quite. My wife won't let me go to the Bahamas during that time. But we're beginning of the year, we get, I start taking a lot of calls because now kids are like more aware of what their parents' situation is. Maybe new directors have come in.
Oh, so they come home not really realizing the condition or the situation.
Right.
Yeah, that's smart. Wow.
So this year I had somebody call me, took a ride with their father, and said, "Dad's not driving anymore." One ride with him, and I know that he can't drive anymore.
That's a tough one.
And he goes, "Can you help?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "I'm not going to let him drive, but I'll get him to where he needs to go." And so he was super appreciative.
Yeah.
I'm actually meeting somebody on Sunday. I'll do this on a Sunday. I'll do this on a Saturday. I'm going to somebody's assisted living. I'm meeting the 2 brothers and the mom. Mom needs help, doesn't want to go with somebody that she hasn't met. And so they want to kind of meet me in person. And so I'm doing that on Sunday. So that's...
Okay, so that's interesting because I saw on your Facebook page, you were not, according to your Facebook page, working on Saturday and Sunday.
So
you kind of morphed? So
I don't work on weekends.
Got you.
I have a couple of clients that like to do Saturday runs. I have a couple of drivers that don't mind working weekends. So I don't overly put out there that I want to work 7 days a week because I don't want to take calls 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But again, even that's changing because now I'm going to have somebody to be able to answer the phones for me. But so again, that's all still kind of fluid at how I move forward with that.
Yeah.
But again, in a specific situation, I don't mind making an exception and saying, "Hey, if the only day I was supposed to go out there 3 times, and they got sick, then mom got sick, and then somebody got hurt, so it just didn't work out." And they're like, "Can you meet this weekend?" And I said, "All right, I'll make it work." There's definitely flexibility there for me.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to work weekends. That's my family time. But I now have drivers that say, "Give me whatever work you can give me." And so that's still very fluid.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like by March, I'll officially be open 7 days a week.
Wow. Give us your website again and your phone number because we're in the last block here, and I know I'll forget.
FNR Transportation, or FNR Transport .com is my URL. My telephone number is 603-361-5531. That will get you to me until March.
That's your direct phone?
That's my direct phone.
Ooh.
And if I don't call you back, I have a woman that starts in February that will call you back, but will be much better at getting calls back. Probably more than likely less than 24 hours, which is what I tell everybody. It'll probably start being same day again.
Got you.
Now that I'm, busier and it's a lot easier to have somebody to call back. But yeah, and then I'm on Facebook, FNR Transportation. Instagram is FNR Transport. There's a great picture of me and a buddy. He took me out to the Patriots game for Christmas.
Yes,
and we saw the Patriots beat the Bills.
Dude. The Bills.
Yep.
Oh man, they're playing this weekend too.
They are.
Ooh, they have moved on.
So, I'm out there. And if you can Google me, F&R Transport. You see the original F&R mobile sitting right in my driveway and ready to roll.
You say you got new signage too?
I did.
You did?
I did. I got, so my magnets actually say elderly transportation now.
Oh.
And they never did before.
Got you.
I've gotten a lot more calls because of that too.
Really?
I've gotten a lot more calls. They're like, I get older people walk by the car while I'm sitting waiting, and I'll be just kind of
cards to hand out to them too?
Oh yeah. All my drivers have cards, because they all have magnets on their cars. And so now I keep a little thing in the car, but I'll be just sitting there watching my phone or my iPad waiting for somebody. I'll get a knock on the window. Do you really transport elderly people? Absolutely, that's what we do. And
no, I just put that sign on my car for kicks. You know, what the heck.
Right. So, and I wanted to say thank you. I took my first call in December. It was either December or November. From a listener of this radio station.
Yes, we like to hear that.
So, I took my very first call.
I'm so glad.
So they told me that they heard me on the radio and wanted to talk to me.
Wow.
And I spent like an hour and a half talking to them. They were great.
My goodness.
Asked me a ton of questions, and they were living in a 55-plus community. And they said that all their friends had questions, and they wrote them all down.
Kevin.
And so I spoke to this person for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
About an hour and a half,
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Yeah, it was great. So I wanted to say thank you.
The bulk of you're welcome. The bulk of your business, is it one-offs or I know you do have regulars, what you call regulars, but is that the bulk of your business, or is it a lot of I just need to go once in January to go see the dentist or something? How's that working?
So I would say right now it's probably my one-offs are probably 30% of my work.
Okay.
So probably 3 out of 10.
I would not have guessed that.
And I built up a much bigger regular clientele, which is great, which is what I want. The more regular clientele, the better. And then I've turned some of those one-offs into regular clientele, which is exactly what I was looking for. I took a call 2 weeks ago, right after the first of the year. I took a call from a woman I hadn't taken in 3 years, given up her license, and said, I wanna use you. She goes, I don't want to drive anymore. I don't feel safe driving. I want to use you. And I'm still offering subscription services. So if people want to call in.
What?
Yeah. So if you call in and say you're calling for your mother.
Yep.
I don't know when mom needs rides. I know that she has a lot of doctor's appointments. Let me prepay for 5 doctor's appointments. Not only can you do that and guarantee those slots. Yep. I give you a discount too for booking, for pre-booking and prepaying. So you get a discount on rides.
Oh my God.
So, and I can do up to, I had one person book a year's worth of rides all at once.
A year's worth?
A year's worth for their aunt. It was not their mother, it was their aunt.
Dude, that's crazy.
So, and I guaranteed it. Anytime that she called in that had a ride, I would make that ride work.
Yeah, I'll bet you will.
And that was my priority ride.
They go right top of the queue?
Absolutely. And now that I have drivers, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, so I still do my subscription. You can pre-book, like you said, specific rides. If you say, well, I want you to take my mother grocery shopping 3 times a month. I don't know how long it's going to be. They can book hours, so I can either do per ride or per hour. So if you say I want to book I want to prepay for 5 hours for my mom, I can do that too.
I cannot imagine what your calendar must look like. It's got to be packed.
Colorful.
Yeah, I know logistically, I would. Personally, I would call it a nightmare, but seriously, this is crazy. Please, again, Kevin, your website, phone number.
My website is fnrtransport.com. My telephone number, I can be reached at anytime, 603-361-5531.
Thank you, sir. You have been listening to NH Unscripted. Maybe I'm not bad Leroy Brown, but who cares? I am your Jim Croce-like host, Ray Dudley. Happy to be out of bed. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord. 101.9 FM for the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls in Manchester. We love you folks down there. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Listen, give Kevin a shout out. Call him. Go to his website. Do it. This man is just a beast. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.